JSN gets a huge deal. What does that mean for Zay Flowers? And the Ravens have the highest win total of the over-under that Vegas posted. That and so much more on this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Welcome back. Welcome back to episode 392 of the Purple Rain podcast. The Make Kimoyatu, Bronson Kalfusi, Martin Chase, Leland Taylor, Haloti Nada, and most recently, Namdi Madubuike edition of the Purple Rain podcast. It is off season, but we do have, Ravens news to talk about as always. But first off, if you are new here, make sure to tap that subscribe button. If you want to talk in the chat, get active, let us know how you're feeling, thoughts, all of that. And then also, if you're liking the video, caress that thumbs up, that like button. It means a lot, helps share the stream. Thank you for that. And of course, you can follow us here on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. This guy right here on Instagram or on X at Sutton Def. Me, Instagram, simply AS10.prod, X, simply AS10. And yeah, we are back on a Wednesday evening. Glad to see your faces in here in the chat. Have some news to talk about. I think the draft now, we are under a month away, 29 days away. And before we kind of get into that, did you see that Pittsburgh, the city, closed schools for, I believe, that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday while the draft's going on in Pittsburgh?
Really? No, I did not hear about this.
Schools in the city. Yes.
That's interesting. I mean, I honestly think that's kind of dope. I think that's kind of cool. Real quick, kicking it off with a super chat donation from our guy Dawaz, making it rain with the 2-piece in the chat. What does Dawaz say? Says Alex and I had Florida for March Madness. Sounds like some brackets were busted already. Is that right?
What he didn't say, I was 99.7% before Florida lost. Like, I was cooking with my bracket. By the way, Tennessee will be in the Elite Eight. Right now, I'm telling you, I'm stamping that Tennessee is my team to make a little bit of a Cinderella run, and they will make it this year. But yes, Florida losing hurts a lot. A lot.
Damn, man. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, I saw something the other day. I was scrolling on TikTok, as I normally would, and I saw a video that said, like, you have, like, a better chance of, like, getting struck by lightning 5 times in your life, before you'll win a March Madness bracket. And I was just like, damn, like, that really kind of sobered me up. And because I was thinking about maybe sprinkling a little bracket in there. I've actually never done it. Fun fact, I've never put together a March Madness bracket. No, I haven't. So I was thinking about doing it this year, just out of boredom. But I don't know, man. I just don't know enough. And I feel like it's just all a big crapshoot, man. I mean, gambling in general, right? But I mean, especially March Madness, you're like 1 in a million odds.
Unfortunately, now I think you're seeing less upsets due to NIL. So I think it will be easier to make brackets, but you'll still have that, that shock 13 beats a 4, 12 beats a 5. But there were a lot less upsets this year, which kind of sucks, and it made it easier for brackets. But you definitely should make one. Like, it's just, I think to me, it gets me in the mood for March Madness. It's just so much fun. And now it's kind of like, well, I have Florida out, but hopefully I can get everything else right. But there are some good Sweet 16 matchups. I'll tell you that right now. There are some good ones. So I'm looking forward to, I believe, tomorrow and Friday, we'll be seeing that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely have to tune in. Real quick update on Arsenal. Are we still cooking, or what's going on there?
They're in 4 competitions, now it's 3. They lost in the final to Manchester City on Sunday, 2-0. They got absolutely outclassed. Like, they were by far the second best team on the pitch that day. Yeah, that one hurt. It stung. I had to eat I'm not even a piece of humble pie because I wasn't expecting to, roll through. But they are still top of the Premier League. They're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and they're close to the FA Cup, like the 4th or 5th round. So they're still in 3 competitions, but big piece of humble pie was 8 on Sunday. I'll tell you that. Huge. Like, basically, it's like when a team just kind of sells out to stop Derrick Henry, and they have nothing else to do. That's kind of what happened. It was a backup goalkeeper in. He couldn't pass, and they just kind of pressed him. They said, you got to pass over us, and it didn't happen, and they beat us. So fair play.
Damn, man. I mean, well, at least you've still got a chance at winning something. You know what I mean? Like, that's the good thing. At least you're not completely and totally out of it. Go ahead.
If they win the league, I will be crying, like genuinely. Like I not trying to be funny, just tears of joy. So that's if
No,
it
I mean
happens.
that's fair. That's fair. I mean,
Yeah.
we have all been there with our favorite sports franchises. I've definitely been there with this Baltimore Ravens team twice in my lifetime. Once the last time we won the Super Bowl, and the time before that, back in like '06 or '07 when we lost to the winless Dolphins in the regular season. Two times I've cried over the Ravens. One time was tears of joy. One time was tears of absolute agony. Right. So I get it as a sports fan. I truly do. But shout out to Arsenal, man. Hopefully they turn things around. They get back on the right track. So you said the issue was that you guys goalie was
They
out.
they started their backup, so it's a different competition. You play kind of the youngster players, your backups in this competition. Not a lot of respect, but the backup goalkeeper is nowhere near good with his feet as the starting goalkeeper, and he just didn't have the confidence. He went to go catch a ball. He put Andrews. It went through his hands, and they scored their first goal through that. Like he went to catch it, should have punched it. It's the margins are very thin, very
Yeah.
thin with these games.
Yeah, interesting. You use the word margins. I feel like I'm going to utilize that same term here
Yes.
sometime down the line in this episode of the show. But again, thank you guys for coming out to this episode 392 of the Purple Rain podcast. I am your host Sutton Def, along with my co-host here, Simply AS10. We have been gone for about a week now, but we are back and we are ready here to deliver you some live Baltimore Ravens content. But even if you aren't watching live and you're part of the hashtag replay gang, salute to you. Thank you for coming through. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel as well. Our like counter is back up, Alex, on the channel. So you can actually check the video in real time and see how many likes we got. So we're
Coming
back
back.
at that. We're back at checking the likes midstream. But yeah, like I said, guys, we got some topics to bring to you guys here today. So before we get into that, please be sure to run those likes, like my guy Stretch52 says in the chat, and also subscribe if you are new. And if you notice, right above us here, right above me and Alex here, we have our little recent events little list here. So it shows who most recently super chatted, who most recently subscribed, who most recently became a member of the Rain Gang. All of that will be recognized up here from now on because we want to recognize everybody who supports the channel and patronizes the channel. We truly do appreciate all of our Purple Rain patrons here. But okay, Alex, we got some stuff to get into.
We do.
We have not talked about the recent contract extension, right? Of one Jackson Smith and Jigba, Super Bowl champion. Jackson Smith and Jigba, right? Had himself an amazing year last season with the Seattle Seahawks, and it's only looking like it's going up from here for JSN. He's looking like one of the best receivers in the league. I think he's undisputably top 5. I mean, I don't think you can name 5 receivers better than JSN right now. And that kind of shows in the contract that he got. So I think it was Monday, JSN reset the wide receiver market, basically making $42 million a year now. That puts him at number 1. And the question is, for the Rain Gang, right? The question is, and Alex, I actually forgot. I thought we were gonna bring this up second. This is my bad. It's my bad.
You're good. No, you're
I
good.
guess
You're
we'll just
good.
get to this first. But the question is, how does this impact Zay Flowers? I saw a lot of discourse online, a lot of discourse on Twitter. Oh, the Ravens, this is going to impact Zay Flowers. He's going to ask for market resetting money, or he's going to ask for something close, $35 million a year, $38 million a year, $28 million, $30 million. Everybody's throwing around different numbers on what they think Zay should make. And now listen, while it's never cool to count somebody else's pockets, we get that. We all know that the NFL is it's really just a big game. You know what I mean? All these guys are making millions and millions of dollars. So I personally think it's okay to speculate and just kind of talk about, okay, if I was a GM, I would be comfortable paying this guy 27 million as opposed to 32 million. I feel like you shouldn't really, scoff at people for doing that, because at the end of the day, these guys are making bank. They're making absolute bank off their NFL contract. So Alex, I got to come to you on this one. How did you feel and react to the JSN contract, and how do you think this impacts Zay Flowers?
I'll tell you this. I mean, kudos to him. He worked his way up from being a receiver 3 at a point to a receiver 1, and the Seahawks kind of to pat themselves on the back for trusting him to be the receiver 1, and he proved them right. He proved them why you took him. The first receiver, I believe, in that 2023 draft. I know we were talking about maybe the Ravens getting him. I thought he was going to go higher than when he went. But congrats to him. I think he's, worth it. He put up 17, almost 1,800 yards in the season. With all due respect, Sam Darnold as your quarterback, it's It's not a top 5 quarterback, but much respect to him. You had guys in there, as well, Walker and Charbonnet. He made his targets count. I think I have his stats up here. 163 targets, 119 catches. So most of the time we throw it his way, he'll come down with it. I'm looking here, games of 124, 132, 162, double-digit touchdowns, and then the playoffs, 2 touchdowns, put up over, I believe, almost 200, 17 catches, 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he was out for some of the Super Bowl. So good on him. When you're playing that good, you deserve that money. As for Mr. Zay Flowers, though, it definitely, if I'm him, I'm asking for not that money, but I'm pushing anything over 30. I think if I'm him, I'm your first Pro Bowl receiver. That's back-to-back years. I've put up over 1,000 yards. I think he will be asking for it. Obviously, we can say if he's worth it, but I think this definitely impacts him, and he'll be looking for upwards of 30 mil. And before you go, real quick, I pulled this up. Here's some of the receivers that make 30 million a year: Brandon Ayuk, Amon-Ra St. Brown, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I'm sure we'll come back to that, but just kind of plant that seed in your head.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the exact same list that you just rattled off right there, Alex. So yeah, I mean, I see all of these guys who are making 30 plus million a year, and I really struggle, Alex. I really struggle bringing myself to terms with paying Zay Flowers that kind of money, and that may not come as a shock to all of you guys out there who have been listening to this channel for a while. As you guys know, I've been very critical of Zay Flowers. I like to call it tough love, right? Because I mean, I love Zay Flowers. He's a homegrown Baltimore Raven. However, when you talk about a 3-level wide receiver, a guy who can threaten the field vertically, right? A guy who can go up and get it with contested catches. You know what I'm saying? And then also just a guy who's just flat out physical. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is what I look at as like a wide receiver one and a guy who you pay $30 million plus. For me, Zay Flowers ain't worth that. Okay. Now, if the Ravens want to give Zay Flowers $30 million a year, cool. But I think that should be the absolute limit. And let me just reiterate some of the guys you said that are around that $30 million mark right now. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Is Zay Flowers a better wide receiver than Amon-Ra St. Brown? Absolutely not. Brandon Ayuk. Is Zay Flowers a better receiver than Brandon Ayuk? I do not think so. Right? And I get it. Recency bias might say, oh, Sutton, what are you talking about? Zay Flowers just got another Pro Bowl, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Brandon Ayuk hasn't even played hardly in the past 1.5 seasons, right? Fair, cool. The 49ers kind of overpaid him. They kind of jumped the gun on that one. So that might be a little bit more debatable. But again, that's why I'm capping it out at $30 million per year. When you look at the structure of this team, Alex, I don't think that it makes any sense to pay Zay Flowers a $30 million before you have your offensive line figured out, right? And this is why I need them to go. If you're gearing up to pay Zay Flowers 30 plus, you better be drafting. You better be drafting at least. I want to see 3 to 4 linemen drafted.
If
3 to
Zay
4
is
linemen
smart,
that
he
could actually be starters.
It's crazy, but you make excuse for
Oh
Bateman
yeah,
and
here's
he's
Ruth.
trash. Zay stats are consistent. Also, will Ravens get a WR better than Zay?
Ravens. We're Baltimore Ravens fans.
So this is Mad Rasta here. You go ahead and read this one back. That was our girl Ruth.
Yeah.
And anybody who sends a super chat donation, $10 or more, Ruth will read it back to us here live on screen. Purple Rain, Ruth, that is. Alex, take this one away.
He says, if Zay is smart, he won't resign. It's crazy, but you make excuse for Bateman, and he's trash. Zay's stats are consistent. Also, will the Ravens get a wide receiver better than Zay? Here's my take on that, I think. And EDC has done it before because a player requested out. If you don't plan on paying him, his value will never get higher than it is now. And that's just the cold, hard truth. He is coming off of a year, his most recent game, 2 touchdowns in a big game, another 1,000-yard year, a Pro Bowl year. If you have no intention of paying him, you can trade him. Now, do I want that to happen? Absolutely not. But that's just me trying to kind of just think of the business side. I don't want to see us run down the contract for what, a 3rd-round conditional pick? I'm sorry, I'm not. That's not happening. If you want to keep him, you got to pay him, and I'm cool with the 30 a year. I think he's done great things, but I just don't think they will pay him. And I'm at the point where, all right, well, if we're not gonna pay him, trade him. At least try to get a pick back. Try to rebuild the receiving core. But that's just where I'm at right now. I don't want to go through and just sit here and wait for this comp pick game. There are some good receivers this year, but now you're kind of just rebuilding receiving core for the 7th straight year. It feels like you're gonna go in with a new receiver one. Zay his rookie year, I don't think we had him as receiver one. Maybe Odell Bateman would have been the one over him, but now it's just like it's Zay, and then behind him, there's a lot of question marks. So I would love to invest more, but I agree we have to build the lineup. And if you keep on paying receivers, look at Joe Burrow with his line. Getting hurt. Doesn't matter who he has at receiver. Probably why they signed Joe Flacco to one more year. I don't think Burrow's going to last 17 games this year. That's why you signed Flacco.
Yeah, definitely saw that insurance. And shout out to old Joseph Vincent, always find himself a job, right? I mean, that boy Joe keep a job now, don't he? Keep a job, Joe. That should be his name from here on out. Shout out to Joe Flacco. But and thank you so much, Mad Roster, for your $10 super chat donation here. We truly do appreciate that here. Making it rain here on this episode 392, the Purple Rain podcast. Now, I know you say I make excuses for Rashad Bateman and he's trash. Number one, Rashad Bateman is not trash. Okay, he's not trash. He has all of the tools, all of the measurables, which we saw in 2024, right? That offensive line actually had some stretches of games where they were actually blocking for Lamar and doing what they needed to do. Rashad Bateman was doing what? He was scoring touchdowns. Rashad Bateman scored a touchdown in every game of that playoff run in 2024, albeit only 2 games, right? He scored touchdowns in both of those games. He's not trash. That's number one. And the only reason, and here's why I'll say it's not the same. It's kind of apples to oranges with Rashad Bateman and Zay. Zay Flowers is seen from around the league. There's like a general consensus that he is going to be paid like a top end wide receiver. Rashad Bateman was never that. He never even had the opportunity to be that, in this Ravens offense. And real quick, another thing I'll say, as you were just talking just now, Alex, and by the way, guys, like the video if you're watching. I kind of had an epiphany. Do you think it's at all possible that the Ravens this year's draft, as we know, this year's draft class is a little bit deep. It's kind of deep for wide receivers. I think on our guy Jason's big board, he's got like 10 wide receivers that are like day 1, day 2-ish type talents. So do you think it's at all possible that either before draft night or on draft night, the Ravens package up Zay Flowers, a year before they have to pay him or pick up his $27 million 5th-year option, ship him off somewhere else for some high draft capital? Now, all of a sudden, you're back in the 2nd round, or you're getting another 3rd or something like that. And you go and you draft a young wide receiver and then invest more of that premium capital, more of that cap space, and more of those premium draft picks on offensive line. That would, to me, while I mean, I would be heartbroken, as somebody who, again, I love Zay Flowers. I mean, I loved him when we drafted him. Of course, you guys know I'm very critical of him, but he's a homegrown Raven at the end of the day. If that were to happen, if the Ravens were to trade Zay Flowers on draft night, I would be sad, but I would totally understand. I would totally understand the play. How, do you think it's at all possible for it to happen? Because nobody's really talking about that. I think that if they wanted to get a deal done, Alex, you would strike while the iron's hot. You would get it done right now and get it done on your terms. Because I get it. The 5th-year option for $27 million, it seems steep as of right now. You know what I'm saying? But you can make it even sweeter for you if you package up that 5th-year option and say, okay, we're going to give you that as, whatever, like a bonus or whatever. And we're going to package it up and it's going to make it look like you're getting paid $37 million a year. A lot of that's in the 5th-year option or the bonus or whatever. You can make it sweet. You can make it work for you, Eric DaCosta. Or you can make it work under the cap. But since they're not doing that and they haven't done that yet, it kind of puts in my head that maybe they are looking to move, like you said, no?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't heard anything. There hasn't been rumblings. I don't think he's going to request out, especially with Declan Doyle coming in. And with that, too, I think he may have a drop in targets, but I think his targets will be a lot more effective. It won't be the screens, the passes 5 yards and shorter. But like I said, if you don't have the intention on paying him, then I think you can call around. I think there are a lot of young teams out there that could use a guy like him. And this is not me advocating for that. Don't get me wrong, but this is me just trying to think if they were to trade him. There's guys with young quarterbacks that could use a guy like him. A guy who can come in there, catch 70 to 80 passes, get you 1,000 plus yards, get you about 5 to 6 touchdowns, and have a complementary piece in your offense. I think you can easily get a first round for him. If you got a first round for Hollywood, you can get a first round for Zay. And that's just don't want it to happen. Let me just preface that. Please, I do not want it to happen.
But look, though, wouldn't be the worst thing.
Like, you can get a first round now or a third round in 2 years. I would love to see him in Declan's offense. I think he'll do great things. Another 1,000 yards probably. Get him more touchdowns. Now we're really talking. But with that happening, the price going up. If they're smart, they kind of go to the table now while they can, try to extend them, and move on from there. Will they do that? Yeah. No. It's Eric DaCosta. We know this guy. He'll wait until the price goes up all the way.
Yeah, and I just think that if they were to do that, hypothetically speaking, if they were to trade Zay Flowers, get back into the round of the draft, then okay, yeah, now your options are wide open. Okay, you can get Vega at 14, or hell, I mean, at that point, depending on where you get in the first round, right? You can pick your wide receiver early, and then you can go and see who's available at 20, whatever it is. I think that would be a game-changing decision for this Ravens roster, but I think also a good one, though. I think it'll be a good one. Cool Breeze says in the chat here, says, I'll trade Zay for Drake London. Oh, yeah, I mean, easily I would trade Zay for Drake London, but they wouldn't give that to us straight up. That'd be kind of ridiculous. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, Zay Flowers, he's a great receiver. I think he's a high-end wide receiver, too. I don't think he is a bona fide wide receiver 1. If anything, he's a wide receiver 1B. A wide receiver, somebody like a JSN who is going to threaten you in the red zone, threaten you pretty much anywhere on the field, right? And Zay Flowers just isn't that guy. So, I mean, again, Zay Flowers, a guy, went 12 games without scoring a touchdown last season. Whoever you want to attribute that to, the facts is the facts. That's what happened. He went 12 straight games without scoring a touchdown last year. I just don't think that we can have, being up too much cap space. Like a player like that is not going to be. And yeah, by the way, one more thing, Alex. One more thing. I was looking at the target share, the target distribution for the Bears last year when underneath Declan Doyle. Now, listen, I get it. It's a difference and things like that, but I think that the target distribution was very, very telling. So let me go through the target distribution for the Chicago Bears last season. It's as follows. Colston Loveland had 82 targets. DJ Moore had 85 targets. Roma Dunze had 90 targets. Luther Burden had 60 targets. Cole Kmet had 40 targets. And Olamide Zaccheaus had 65 targets. That's pretty spread out. That's pretty spread around. You know what I mean? So if that is what Declan Doyle's MO is, he wants to make defenses guard every blade of grass, of turf on the field, like Todd Monken promised he was going to do, then I just don't see how you bring in a Zay Flowers, right? I just don't see how you bring in a Zay Flowers and pay him $38 million a year, especially when he's a smaller wide receiver. And if we're going to be spreading it around, and we're also, by the way, a run-first team. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
No. Now, I see people kind of in the chat talking about it with the whole Bateman thing. If I'm a GM, I think Bateman's the more appealing guy to trade for right now. He has a cap hit of $6 million this year. If you have faith in your guy, and if you think that you have a good receiver and you want Bate to come in, I think I would trade for him personally. Zay, you're gonna have to pay 30 plus for, but sorry, Matt Ross says trade Zay and expect Lamar to extend. Why would Lamar stay for that? Lamar is wasting his time as an organization. Team is 2 years from a rebuild. I guess it depends what they get with it. I'm looking now. In the first round, I'm guessing you got the Dolphins. I could see maybe calling for him. The Jets, they pay Garrett Wilson. Never mind. Panthers, they have Tet. Wouldn't be bad with Tet and Zay because he's still in a rookie contract. That's just if we think EDC will make that big play move. I don't think he will unless Zay calls to get out. I think he'll stay a Raven, but this is us just kind of speculating what could happen. As for the team being 2 years from a rebuild, got to fix the line. I mean, with your quarterback not upright, I still think that pieces to contend.
Alex, I think that A big reason, and here's why I am an advocate for Zay Flowers. It's because he has that floor connection with Lamar Jackson. Like, it is of paramount importance because you see some of the biggest plays that Zay Flowers makes within this Ravens offense is when plays break down and Lamar Jackson extends plays with his legs. Zay Flowers, Lamar Jackson, that kind of connection was like, oh, we're used to this. We used to do this on the playground and stuff like that, right? So let me just scramble out, scramble drill, make sure I'm available for him. Let me go deep, right? That's just all they used to do growing up. He had the same connection with Hollywood.
Yep.
I mean, I love that for Zay Flowers. And again, that would be the only reason why I would consider keeping him, just his relationship and his connection with Lamar. But pound for pound, I think that there are better ways to go, when it comes to this receiving room. So that's just me. That's just me. Thank you so much, Mad Roster, for the super chat donation, man. Making it rain as always here. We appreciate you, brother. But yeah, that's Zay Flowers. I mean, the Ravens may pay him, they may not pay him. We'll see. Maybe they trade him draft night. Maybe that's a huge blindsiding move that happens, kind of like it tends to do on draft night. We've been kind of witnesses of that before a couple of years ago with Hollywood, but we will see. We shall see. I do think Bateman, though. I do think Bateman this year, as much as y'all want to trash Bateman, look, I'm betting the over on whatever his receiving yards are. Whatever the over under is, I'm hammering the over. I doubt it. Those don't come out until especially for a guy like Bateman. I remember we checked last off season. I think we checked in July, or something like that, or early August, still went up. So I doubt it'll be up yet. That'd be cool if it was though.
It's not.
But I'm hammering the over. Yeah, I'd be hammering the over on that one.
I mean, Lamar's second best odds to win MVP. There's that. Take it for what it's worth.
That makes sense. Speaking of odds, right? And that's the perfect transition here. Las Vegas, and I think it was DraftKings specifically, have the Ravens win total at 11.5, which is the highest in the NFL. And this is really interesting to me because I'm thinking to myself, okay, Ravens just got a brand new head coach, entirely new coaching staff, by the way. Entirely new coaching staff. Lost a bunch of players in free agency. They still have some holes to fill through the draft and maybe a little bit more through free agency trades, whatever. Yet they're still sitting on the Ravens to win 11 games. That's kind of a lot. Again, highest in the NFL. And I'll go through our 2026 opponents in a second. But I put a poll in the chat, in the live chat. Shout out to you if you're watching in the live chat. It says, be realistic. You think that the Ravens go over or under 11.5 wins? 76% of you said over 11.5 wins. Alex,
I voted on this, and right now, I voted the under. I don't trust this line. I don't trust John Simpson. Our guard situation is still a huge question mark, so I cannot give over 11.5 wins. But backing up with this 11.5 line, the joint favorite to win the Coach of the Year, there's two at plus 850, and they both have Ravens links. Jesse Minter and John Harbaugh for Coach of the Year. That's your favorites right there. So right now I'm thinking maybe a 10-win team. I still want to see additions made. I feel like you got to fix this line. Wouldn't hate another receiver as well. Got to crush the draft. And then maybe we can talk about over, but right now I'm under, and even then, it's going to be hard for me to get to the 12. I know we don't have the worst schedule, but I'm hoping Jesse Minter kind of takes a lot of those bozo losses we had away, because we had him with Harbaugh all the time, losing to teams that we just had no business losing to. Losing to the Browns sometimes, losing to Gardner Minshew back-to-back years. Had no business dropping those games whatsoever. So, brand new Ravens regime. We don't know what we're going to see. I don't know what to expect. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I think I would have to agree with you. I would probably go under as well, and it wouldn't be much. I think that the Ravens will probably win 11 games this season. I think that they win 11 games this season, get in with a wild card, and they shock the world. And that's just me having lofty expectations, right? But I think that they win about 11. Now let's go through some of the Ravens, all of the Ravens 2026 opponents here. So obviously we do not have the schedules yet. I think that releases maybe a month after the draft, something like that, Alex, I believe May. Yeah. But we do have our 2026 opponents in their entirety. So let me go through it. Away games for the Ravens this season: Bengals, Browns, Steelers, obviously. Then you have the AFC South. You have the Texans, right? And you have the Colts. You have the Falcons. You have the Panthers. You have the Bills, Cowboys. So the rest of the South team we play at home. Interesting. But just talking about those away games really quick, Alex, what do you see? How many of those away games do you see the Ravens dropping? Right, just as it stands right now,
Okay.
Bills, Texans, maybe. What do you think?
I think we beat the Bills. I think it's definitely we're due a win, and I'm actually gonna say we lose in Cincy because they're due to beat us there. I think we've won there 3 straight years. Like going into your rival and winning in their house 3 straight years is pretty absurd. Considering the Bengals are it's not the Browns, it's not the Raiders. Like they have a good roster. The fact we went there and shut them out last year. I think we'll probably split with them. I think my hot take is I think we sweep the Steelers this year. I really do. I think that whole us playing weird to them is over, and I think we sweep them. And I think we sweep the Browns. So that's kind of just jumping ahead. But Texans are gonna be hard depending how that defense looks. But if CJ Stroud played like he did against the Patriots and all those turnovers, if that's the same CJ Stroud we see this year, I like us in that game. But I think D'Amico might have one over us. So I can see us dropping the Texans game. Um, Maybe one other loss there. Not sure where that would come from. I
I
don't. The
I
Falcons
think
have
we
those
get all
games
these
where they
teams,
look
bro.
really good. See, the thing with the Falcons, like
They
they have
do.
those games where they look unstoppable, and the next week they'll put up like 7 points, and the week before they just put up like 35 and look like the best team in the league.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm terrified of Bijan Robinson and Drake London. I'm kind of on record saying that. So I could see the Ravens dropping that one by a very, very close margin. I could see a shootout, as a matter of fact. But I do think that the Ravens edge out an Atlanta Falcons team. Now, the Texans, I can kind of agree with you. I think that the Ravens may drop that one, even though I feel like it would be a vengeance game after what happened last regular season. So again, it's one of those things where I could see the Ravens winning all of these games, but I could also see them losing about 2 to 3. And if I had to pick those three, I would say Falcons, Texans, and maybe the Bills, maybe the Bills. But you made a point about the Steelers, Alex. I think that with this entire new coaching staff coming in, they're going to be looking at the Steelers like, wait, this is your rival? This is what these guys do? I'm going to take care of them. You know what I mean? And I think that goes for the entire AFC North. And I know there's some new coaches throughout the AFC North. You got Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh. You got Todd Monken in Cleveland. But with how the entire Ravens coaching staff was revamped, this is a totally new team. A totally new team, still with a demon quarterback, number 8, Lamar Jackson. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to look a lot
Yeah.
different. I think especially defensively, and it's going to take a while for the teams in our division, let alone the league, but in our division to adjust to the new Ravens. So
Yeah.
I think that the Ravens do win the division this year. I agree with you. I think that they sweep the Steelers, who seem to be rebuilding right now. But yeah, if I had to pick any one of those away games for the Ravens to lose, I'd say the Texans, maybe the Bills. Now let's go into the home games, right?
Real quick, low
Home
key,
game.
let me
Okay, go
take
ahead.
back
Yeah,
my
go ahead. Yeah.
Falcons. Stefanski's their coach, and I don't know who their quarterback is. I don't know what Penix will look like coming back after the season ending. I'm about to take that back because I don't know what they're gonna look like, and I don't really trust Stefanski. I think he'll kind of just like study them to maybe like 8-9, 9-8. I think we could get that. So I'm gonna take that one back.
I
I
don't
take that
know.
one back.
I think we're sleeping on the Falcons, bro. I think we're sleeping on the Falcons only because they have, again, John is a beast. Drake London is a dog. That offensive line, they got rid of Dwayne Ledford, but they got Bill Callahan, the coach of that offensive line.
Yeah.
Bill Callahan's one of the best. People are underrating them. I think people are underrating the Atlanta Falcons. Do I see that the Ravens? Do I see them losing to them? No, but it is a possibility on the road, right? So I don't
You
know. I
know,
think I'll stick with that one. Yeah.
the Ravens fans will take that stadium over. I would tell you that right now. I think there'll be more Ravens fans than Falcons fans in their stadium. The way our fans travel, especially the Falcons fans aren't like how they used to be. I think since they've been kind of mid, I can see that one where the Ravens fans take over at Mercedes Benz. But go on the home games. On the home games. On the home games.
Okay. On the home game. So obviously, again, Bengals, Browns, Steelers. Again, I gotta sleep in the Steelers, just like you said. Bengals, maybe there's a split there, right? Maybe, I'm not sure. Browns, it could get finicky. with that defense and Todd Monken kind of being familiar somewhat the Ravens roster. But outside of that, you got the Jaguars, you got the Titans, you got the Saints, you got the Buccaneers, and you got the Chargers. These are all at home. A couple of these should be layups, right? I mean, Saints, Titans, degree. I mean, Bucks, no Mike Evans anymore. He's a 49er now. Jesse Minter is very familiar with the Chargers. You might think that that's layup there, even though they got Justin Herbert, high octane quarterback, but little to no offensive line help so far. Alex, who do you think out of these home games that you could see the Ravens dropping some games to?
Obviously, one division, guys. Jags are weird. I really wasn't too. I mean, they obviously good at points last year, but then they had games when the Rams came in and just kind of bent them over and had their way. I feel like if we're a serious team, we maybe drop one game, but out of all of them, like I want the Chargers head on a sword, bro. I'm sorry. I wish we played the Giants this year. I have just a vendetta against the Harbaughs. I'm just leave it with there. I'm at this point. I have a vendetta with Herbert as well. I think they're gonna be like the whole, just the NFL's darling. You have Mike McDaniel's quirky ass at OC. You have everybody's favorite Justin Herbert at quarterback. You have Jim Harbaugh giving the speeches. Nothing will make me happier than just blowing them guys at home. I think maybe one loss, and there should be maximum 1 to 2 losses after what we had to endure last year at home. All those losses, teams coming into our building, embarrassing us. You have got to, come. I hope Jesse Minter brings that fire back, but maybe 1 to 2, maybe the Jags, maybe a divisional. But the Bucks, who no Levante David, they lost their leader on defense. He retired.
Oh yeah. No, I agree. These home games, a lot of them do seem like, again, a little bit of a layup. I know you guys say Jags, maybe not a layup. Chargers, same thing. But the more that I'm thinking about it, I mean, you kind of always got to account with the Ravens. You got to account for that one, like, or two, maybe like really silly losses, So I know we said like maybe losses for the away games. I'm gonna probably say the same thing here, Alex. I mean, yeah. I mean, on the high side, I mean, what is that? What, 34 puts us at, Alex? I think that's pretty realistic. Now, this is, of course, this is barring any I words. Nobody gets hurt like that.
Right.
If that were to happen, then maybe you have to bump that down a little bit. But I kind of see Vegas's point. Of over 11.5. I know we just said under 11.5, and I think that's kind of us erring on the side of caution with I words, guys getting hurt, and then also us having a new coaching staff. Maybe that comes with some growing pains, but outside of that, Alex, I mean, I think you talked about it with Jason the other day. This team's only a couple pieces away from really, really being serious contenders. Right, you're looking at interior O-line, shoring that up. Obviously, I think John Simpson's probably going to start at left guard. Maybe you have Emory Jones at right guard, but maybe you draft a Ione Vega or a Spencer Fano. Spencer Fano can play tackle, but he can also play center as well. You can swing him inside, and maybe you go John Simpson, you go Fano, and then you go Jones. Maybe that works for you. I don't know, but the Ravens are only a couple of pieces away, specifically in the trenches, offensive line, defensive line, from really, really being championship contenders in my eyes. So I kind of get now that we're talking about it, over 11.5 wins.
That is true. Like we were talking about, we were a closer away from winning 2 games, possibly maybe 3 last year, and really maybe taking the division over. It's just we just can't bank on fixing a problem that's been broken for a couple of years. I think that's kind of where our caution is we don't want to say those things will happen and they don't, because we knew we needed alignment last year, and you draft a bunch of guys in this day 3. Some don't make the team, and some just are sat on the inactive list the whole season. We don't want that. I think this year in the first round is pretty eye-opening that, like, there are some guys, there are some prospects that if they're there at 14, you take them. Now, for me, that's granted, if we have another Kyle Hamilton situation and a guy with that type of talent falls, different story. But there'll be guys here a second round. Or you have the picks to trade up to get back into maybe the third round if you see a guy you like. For me, like, this is a huge draft. EDC cannot miss it, and that's kind of where I'm worried at, because he has had some big misses, and I hate we go back and reflect on the Ben Cleveland when there was other guys here that would be starting right now. I don't want to keep on doing that because we've had too many of that. Well, we could have picked this guy, but we picked the guy who just tore his Achilles at his pro day. You know what I'm talking about there. Stop drafting I-word players. First off, stop it. Like, that's my biggest agenda right now. Can we draft healthy players? Because drafting the hurt ones has not panned out well for us. At all. Like, at all. So, with a good draft and some quality, maybe 2 to 3 more signings, we can maybe talk about 13. But
yeah,
we have a favorable
like
schedule.
you said,
Playing the South helps us out a lot. NFC South.
yeah, it does. It does. I mean, we definitely have a much easier schedule than last year. I'll be very interested to see what the schedule is, like what the order of it is. You know, I can't wait for that to drop because that'll be very telling. 'Cause remember last year we opened up with an absolute gauntlet. It was crazy. It was crazy. You know what I mean? Bills, Chiefs, we had Rams, and you know, it was bad. But anyways, though,
Yeah.
I see some people in the chat, some people who must have just gotten in here talking Zay Flowers again. I guess we can get off of this Vegas win total topic here. And let's just swing back around really quick for those of you guys who missed it. Zay Flowers, man, do we think that the Ravens should pay him $50 million plus? No, we do not. We do not think that the Ravens should spend their highest capital, most of the capital, on the offensive line. And if that means maybe even trading Zay Flowers now or on draft day, right, to maybe get back into the first round and get a younger wide receiver, or get into the second round and get a younger receiver, I think that's the route that maybe they should go. Only because, again, I think Declan Doyle is going to spread it out in this offense. The Ravens are also run on top of that. So you're not just going to see Zay Flowers just dominate target share to even warrant paying him $35+ million, right? It's great. Sounds great. Homegrown talent, drafted him and everything like that. But in the business side of things, it might make more sense to part ways with him. Just saying.
Yeah. And I think one more thing is, like, we have a number we're willing to match, but if you don't plan on signing him, don't wait for a third round comp pick. And we've seen that over and over again. Like I said, we will keep players to the point where we won't get anything in return when there's been a chance to trade guys. Hell, Trent McDuffie, the Chiefs. L'Jarius Sneed, they traded him when the time was right. I'm not trying to compare, corners or receivers, but it's just instances where if a team's not going to sign a player, you trade him at their highest value and get picks back. That's kind of where I'm at. Want to stay a Raven. Please don't shoot me for that. But if EDC does not have just the thought in his mind he's going to sign him, start looking. Don't hurt me. Don't shoot me. Don't kill me. I'm just saying. Come on.
That's what Chris saying here. Chris is out. He wants to box. She loves Zay Flowers. I just, I again, we all love Zay Flowers. The Ravens drafted him, However, just in terms of what the Ravens need right now, and honestly, what works best for Lamar Jackson, what type of pass catcher responds best to Lamar Jackson. Look at Isaiah Likely, for example. A tight end 2 the entire time he was with Baltimore. But for a lot of the time he was with Baltimore, he looked like the receiver that Lamar Jackson was most comfortable going to. And why is that? Because he's a big-bodied receiver who plays the game of football, who plays the position of wide receiver like a basketball player. You know what I mean? He's just going to go up and get it over anybody. And you see Lamar Jackson, he's in trouble, and he needs to be bailed out. He needs that guy downfield to say, F it, such and such is down there somewhere, and he can just kind of throw it up to him. You know what I mean? Because we've seen Lamar Jackson do that on many occasions, right? But he doesn't necessarily do it as much with the smaller receivers. He likes to set up the smaller guys, get them into space and things like that because he knows they need that space, right? Just imagine if Isaiah Likely was a wide receiver. Imagine if Isaiah was a wide receiver. We would have paid him, right? He would be a Raven to this day. You know what I'm saying? I just think that it's time. It's time. Perhaps for the Ravens, they can move on for Zay Flowers. Perhaps, I know they probably won't. Knowing this team, knowing Eric DeCosta, he wants to stay loyal to the soil, right? Especially with the players that he drafted. I'm probably going to end up paying him 35, 37, close to near $40 million. Some way, somehow, they'll make it work. Do I think that's smart? Absolutely not. But, hey, look, there's smarter guys than me, obviously, in the front office.
Look at Mark Andrews. Look at him. He had, after the drop, I know that was an awful drop in 24, But that's the year when he had double-digit touchdowns. I think he had like 11 touchdowns that year. Outside of that drop, you probably could have gotten good value for him if you were a serious team. You trade him, pay likely, draft a tight end last year in the draft. Hell, could have drafted Harold Fannin maybe. So you have Fannin, Likely, and Kolar. But they didn't. They stayed loyal to him, gave him the extension. Now you have Andrews and Durham Smythe. And who else? I know hindsight's 2020, but that's kind of what I'm getting at. You can always, try to adjust to it. But they didn't. I'm trying to think of a Harold Fannin and Likely room with Kolar maybe. That would have been cool, but didn't happen. Wasn't meant to be. But we stay loyal to our guys. We like our guys. The EDC way. So
the EDC way. It seems like EDC is trying to switch things up. You know what I mean? He was getting ready to ship off 2 first-round picks from Mac Crosby. As we all know, Steve Bisciotti put the pressure on Eric DeCosta. So maybe he's moving different. Maybe we'll see him take another big swing before this offseason is over. I still, again, with that 14th pick, I'm still a big Yoane Vega guy. If he's there, if Spencer Fano's there, I'd say get him. Interior O-line is what this team needs in order to succeed right now. I will not move off of that point because it's the only thing that matters, bro. It's the only thing that matters. People act like, Alex, and here's my problem. People act like we don't have number 8 at quarterback. People act like Lamar Jackson did not win a unanimous MVP. Throw likes of Chris Moore, Miles Boykin, Seth Roberts, and Willie Snead IV, right? The people are acting like he wasn't throwing to basically nobody's in respect to those guys. But if you ask half the football fans in the world who those guys, they will not know. You know what I mean? But Lamar Jackson somehow managed to throw 37 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions, or 36-7, something like that. Only second year. So don't tell me that it's not possible for the Ravens to get anything done if they do not have a Zay Flowers on the roster. If you give him a competent offensive line, a top unit, right? If you get him a top unit, he will make things happen with whoever's around him. And Rashad Bateman, Tez Walker, and whoever the Ravens draft, I think will be, I don't want to say more than enough, but I think that they will be viable candidates to get things done in this. We got another super chat donation. This one's coming from Ed Rasta again. Appreciate you, brother. Says Ravens drafting a safety or cornerback first round. Brother, if that happens, we will be rioting.
Yeah.
We will be rioting on these.
There's guys like,
yeah,
for me, if Bain fell, if Bain fell, yeah, I'd be happy. But corner or safety back-to-back years when your line looks like that. Safety back-to-back years when you can't get pressure on the quarterback. That would be crazy. And real quick, we're talking about the 2019, like those guys. The receiving core. Boykin retired. Willie Snead retired. Chris Moore's a free agent. Hayden Hurst, go to tight ends, retired. Nick Boyle retired. That, not leaking.
Come on now.
I know that was a little 6 and change years ago, but crazy. Not 7 yet. 6 and a half, I think, but NFL was a crazy league. But yeah, if we did a safety or a quarterback first round, there's problems.
Malpractice. I mean, we're talking about the whole best player available thing. Go out and get the best player that's available on the draft board when your pick comes up. And it's like, no. You should go with whoever the most valuable player to you is, to your team, relevant to your team, within the context of your roster. Like I said, with Jason, we're not trying to be first team all fun, right? We have real needs that we need to kind of put together on this roster, And I think the problem with a lot of people is that, and why people talk about, they argue positional value a lot, Alex, is because we don't look at linemen as more valuable because they're not puts butts in seats. I really think when people are talking about best player available, I think that they're talking about best asset available. Because if we're truly talking about the best player available in terms of the context, within the context of your team and your roster needs, right? Sometimes that can be the boring pick. Sometimes that can be the offensive guard. Sometimes that can be the tackle, the center, defensive tackle. It can be the more boring pick, right? Because when we're talking about the anatomy of the game of football, the most important players, as I learned every February, are the guys down low in the trenches.
Yep.
But for some reason, every April, we all go back to having this idea that, oh, wide receivers, cornerbacks, running backs, like they're the most valuable players. It's like,
40-yard
no.
dash, 3 cone. We look at
40
those.
yard dash, 3 cones. Yo, see the bend that guy? Come on,
Vertical.
bro. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? You got to keep the main thing here. The main thing, like we learn again every February, is that those guys down low dictate the game. Whoever has the better players down low dictate the game. Football is a game of inches. All of these guys are professionals. Every last one of these guys are damn good at the sport. So, literally, where do you get an edge in this sport? The margins. The margins. Remember that word, Alex? The margins, right?
There it
You know what I mean?
is.
Like, there's marginal differences between these teams now. So I think that you have to have a dominant offensive line. You have to have a dominant defensive line. It just boils down to that. It's Vega or bust, and that's why I think even if a Ruben Bain drops, and I got a lot of shit for this, Alex. Even if Ruben Bain were to drop to 14, I'm still not taking him. Even if Ruben Bain drops to 14, Alex, that's just me. I know a lot of people hate that take, but I think now's going to be intentional about sinking your main draft capital, your biggest assets right now, into that offensive line. That's just me. And people can say, oh, what about Emory Jones and John Simpson? Give me Vega in place of Emory Jones, and Emory Jones will be the insurance on my insurance. You know what I mean? Basically, like I want backs. I want options on the O-line. That's what we need.
Yeah.
You have the O-line. You build a wall in front of Lamar. Lamar will do the rest for you. Lamar will do the rest for you. Not to mention you have a 29-year-old first time we call her offensive coordinator, and none of his plans are going to work unless he's got a dominant O-line pushing dudes around. That's where I'll leave it at, Alex.
I'll tell you what, man. If Bain was there, I'm running the card up here from Baltimore. I'm running from Baltimore to Pittsburgh and run that. I feel like you set your edge room up. I think what we saw, we couldn't get any rush. There will be a guy there second round. You won't have a Bain there. Like, to me, him and Hendrickson. You have Mike Green as well. Tavius is a big question mark. He might not be here after next year. Now you're stuck with the whole edge room again. We have to sign another vet. I want to have some young guys that we can trust. That's if Bain were to fall. Do I think it happens? No. I think he'll maybe go 7 or 8. Definitely maybe 9. I don't think he'll pass the Bengals. I think the Bengals will take him. If they don't, that would be very Bengals of them. But I would like to see Bain in purple and black. I would. But obviously, if he's not there in Vegas, that's my pick. So.
My thing is, man, it's time to, and I'm tired of acting like this isn't how we should be constructing this team. Think about it. Let's think about it like this. Alex, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's think about it like this. Which player, and I feel like this is how we should determine value. Which player is going to be more impactful on more snaps? Right? Is it going to be Iona Vega, or is it going to be a Ruben Bain? Is it going to be Iona Vega, or is it going to be a Mekhi Lemon? Is it going to be Vega, or is it going to be Jordan Tyson? Is it going to be Vega, or is it going to be Jeremiah Love? Who is going to impact the game? And I think if you have to answer that question, it's obviously Iona Vega. I mean, offline, they're literally the force multipliers of the offense. Without the offensive line, nothing else happens. But does that make sense, though, Alex?
Yeah, that does make sense. And I feel like I'm probably contradicting myself saying I would take Bain if he was there at 14. I just feel like the drop off, I'd say maybe. I feel like if you got Bain there, you wouldn't get anyone close to him in second round. You'd be getting a day one starter. You'd be getting a guy who I feel like can go in there, which is I think would just cause havoc and just cause just more problems for Jesse Minter and for Anthony Weaver. But I'm cool with that. And I think you get a lineman in second round if they were to be there. You also have a shit ton of picks as well. Stop being scared to trade up. I'm going to keep harping on that. I want to see us trade up this draft. I'm tired of taking all these guys. Not everyone will make the draft. Garrett Dillinger last year did not make the team. An offensive lineman did not make this team because we did not have space for him. Because EDC gets some stick up his ass to just got to get a UDFA to make this team. Not using one of my picks that I made. And now I think Dillinger's on the Titans now. He went from the Browns to the Titans, but it's like this guy's still in the NFL. He'll be somebody's backup, but like he could have been here. Who knows what he could be. I'm just tired of just wasting picks. So trade up, EDC. Trade up for once.
Yeah. As my coach Sip Chitali Film said famously last week, he said they're ready to be trying to wrap up their draft by round 4. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like you should package up some picks and try to get back up into the 4th and 3rd round, 2nd maybe. Yeah, I agree. Trade up. It's time. It's time to start making some big swings. But okay, Alex, let's go ahead and end with a little one. I saw some news on Puka Nakua. Puka Nakua's in trouble again, isn't he?
This, I'll tell you what.
Mm-hmm.
If your star receiver 1 is hanging out with kick streamers, yeah, you might want to worry. He's still immature, I believe.
Yeah. I think I agree with that. I was out walking the dog earlier today and I was like thinking to myself, like, why does Puka Nakua keep getting into these situations? And like I know he's kind of like denied allegations. I heard like he was like biting women or something like that, something crazy. And I heard he's like denying allegations, but this isn't the first time that he's been in some controversy, right? So like I think it's one of those things, as you guys know what I say, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I think that, like you said, him hanging out with kick streamers who literally all they do is just kind of like rage bait and engagement farm and do things to get the clicks, right? That comes with some kind of immature behavior, and if Puka Nakua is putting himself in those situations, man, do you think that the Rams pay him a whopping $45 million a year if stuff like this keeps coming out?
I mean, he's worth it. Don't get me wrong. It's, to me, he's top receiver in the league. For a coach like Sean McVay, for a GM like Les Snead, for an owner like Stan Kroenke, I don't know how they are letting this fly. I hope they pull him in. I hope they really just are like, dude, what are we doing right here? Are you making this much money with these? I hate to say it. Listen, they live great lives, and this is my opinion. These loser streamers, I think they're just not good people. They spread the wrong values to the youth. I think they're poisoning the youth. This is me. This first, like, getting older, I've kind of realized that. Now I'm 27. I'm like, these people, if I had a kid and then they were watching these streamers, I would not want it at all. I feel like they just are just not good people at all. And as for Puka, you're kind of now this up and coming guy, and you are quote unquote biting people. You've already had a allegation where, well, not an allegation, you made a gesture which had the NFL spreading a hate campaign because of something you did. That is not a good look whatsoever. The Rams have got to snatch him. Like, dude, what are we doing here? Like, is football like your number one, or is it being famous number one?
Right, and it's like what the streamers tend to do. A lot of them, at least. I don't want to speak for all of them, on a more positive note and things like that. But a lot of like the ones that are at the forefront of that industry, they promote degeneracy as a form of entertainment. And I think that Puka Nakua kind of aligning himself with that ilk of people consistently in news like this coming out where you're biting women, it's just not a good look at all, and especially before you get your life-changing back, because Puka Nakua is still on his rookie deal, right? He's still on his rookie deal, and you are moments away from getting a life-changing generational type of money and wealth, right? And stepping into that. So like, why not clean your act up now so you don't leave any of that money on the table, and you still haven't won a championship. You haven't won a championship with LA, like, again, like you mentioned, is football your main focus, or is being famous and known your main focus? Like, which one is it? I think somebody has to sit down and have that conversation with him, whether that be maybe somebody from the Rams organization, maybe is a family member. Somebody's got to sit that kid down and be like, he's not a kid, he's a grown man. And this is why we're talking like this. Like, somebody's got to sit this dude down and say, look, like, where are your priorities, right? Can we get them right? Can we get them aligned? Because you're getting ready to get life-changing money, and your team is contending for a Super Bowl pretty consistently. You lock in, y'all can do that, right? So I wish nothing but the best for Puka. Thoughts and prayers, but he's definitely got to mature a little bit. for sure.
And I think you made a great point. It's not all streamers, and you are right. They promote degeneracy. I think they promote hatred. I think they promote people not thinking for themselves. They promote everything bad in the world. They promote not respecting people because they don't look like you, if they're not the same gender as you, not the same beliefs, and that to me, that's just not cool whatsoever. I think one of the number one kick streamers now is a guy who does drugs and it's just disrespectful to women and treats them as objects, and that to me is like, that's my problem. That's my biggest problem with this whole kick stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so far removed from that. Where I mean, because I don't watch any of these streamers at all. I see some of the clips and stuff like that when they float around on like Twitter and whatnot. But like, I've
Yep.
never actually sat down and watched some of these guys' streams. But I can only imagine. I mean, Alex, we do these live streams like 45 minutes to an hour at a time. I can only imagine you're on live for what 4, 5, 6 hours. You got to do something entertains people, and unfortunately, what entertains a lot of people is degeneracy. Is people who create conflict. I see this one guy who's a streamer. He literally just goes around on people and just starts shit out of nowhere.
Yep.
Just walks around like former fighters and stuff like that, and just like calls them out their name and disrespects them and whatnot, and basically begging to get hit and whatnot. I just don't think there's another way. There's another way to get engagement, and this is for anybody out there listening who is aspiring streamer, content creator, whatever. Just be yourself. You don't have to play this character that you think will get the most likes, views, and attention. Just be yourself. And here's the kicker: if you're being yourself on camera and you're not getting maybe this isn't for you. Maybe this isn't for you. And that's just a message to streamers out there: just be yourself. But we'll go ahead and we'll leave that there. And therefore, this episode of the Purple Rain podcast, episode 392, thank y'all so much for coming out to this one. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. And with that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Yeah, thank you for coming through this episode 392 of the Purple Rain podcast. We love you. We have a lot on the way. We have draft coming up. We have the draft stream coming up. Make sure you lock in for that because we'll be picking pick 14. So I'll speak for myself. I will not be halfway in bed for that. I'll be definitely energized. Knows you'll be energized, Sutton, and I can't wait for that. So that's on the way. The giveaway is on the way for 400. So if you aren't, join the Purple Rain Patreon. Yeah, thank you all for coming through. Whether you agree, disagree, that's what we're here for. We're all Ravens fans. At the end of the day, I want to see you and you, Sutton, at the Ravens parade come February because that is the goal, and that would be awesome. So thank you all, and we'll see you when we see you. As always, stay positive and test freaking negative.
Yes, yes, yes. And with that being said, also, never, ever, all God, episode 392 of PRP. We're going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.